What up, everybody? This is Double G for the Fight Game Podcast. 2 more weeks of the Road to Wrestlemania podcast with me and my buddy who's online right now, Big D. What's up?
Yes, indeed. This is the penultimate episode. Well, are we doing a review afterward?
Nah, well, we'll see. We'll play it by ear. We could.
Okay. Whatever you want. Whatever you want.
So just to remind everybody who are listening to this via the Fight Game Podcast, which you can find on Apple Podcasts and all those great ways to listen to podcasts, but also on the World of Geekdom YouTube channel. So welcome to everybody on those channels listening to this. We really appreciate you hanging with us these last few weeks, and we're in the stretch run here with WrestleMania, which I don't know about you, but I feel like it's really picked up steam from the perspective of how hot this show is. Like, originally, I didn't really think it was all that big, and we might have even talked about that in the first couple Road to WrestleMania shows that we did. But as of, probably last week when Daniel Bryan got added, it feels kind of hot now.
We talked about it a little bit last week. Yeah, I think them adding Daniel Bryan was like a huge layer. It's like another big match. I think the show was already pretty big going into it, based on like the Ronda thing, because that's a big deal, especially in the mainstream media after, her appearances this week on sports media. But that being said, I think adding Daniel Bryan, is a brand new layer. They added a couple of new matches too, which I was kind of surprised at. But yeah, no, I personally am more excited for this show than I was before. I personally am.
And as a ticket buyer, as someone who actually paid real money to go to this show, to take the weekend away from your normal day-to-day, you're the type of, I'm not going to the show, so from that perspective, it has to feel like you're getting, more of your money's worth, because this is the time you even mentioned that you went all out this year. Like, this is kind of like a once in a lifetime thing for you, trying to get the best seat possible and, spending real dollars to do it. So I imagine that you feel like you're getting your money's worth more so now today than you were when the card first started getting put together.
Well, it's funny because when I had first gotten the chance to get this very expensive seat, I wasn't sure if I was going to do it because I didn't feel very well at the time. I wasn't I was a little bit ill. I was actually very ill at the time, and I wasn't sure if I should do it. And then actually one of my friends who's very conservative with money, he's like, I sat down, I go, should I do it or not? And he looked at me, he's like, you might never get this chance again. And that was enough to convince me. Like, that was enough to convince me right there. Like, it's true. Like, you may never get a chance again. So, trust me, as far as that goes, this is one of those times where I know I'm going to be aching the next day because I don't like flying. I'm not a big fan of it. And I know that, like, it's going to be a long show. But I kind of want it to be a long show. I want this show to be long. I don't want to look at okay, maybe not too long, but I do want this show to give me my money's worth. And I think if everything gets time, I think it will.
So let's actually dive right into it, because you kind of teased it. Actually, the big story today, because it happened all this morning, was our girl Ronda Rousey all over ESPN.
Yep.
She did, from what I can tell, she did 3 shows, but maybe it was more. She did a spot with Max Kellerman. She did a spot with Mike Golick and Trey Wingo. And then she did a spot on the new ESPN morning show called Get Up with Jalen Rose and Michelle Beadle and a couple other folks, Mike Greenberg. And so, all around Twitter today, I've been seeing so much negativity around Ronda Rousey. And so let's kind of talk about these little bits of media that she did. So with Max Kellerman, so you got to remember Max Kellerman is an HBO boxing guy.
Definitely. That's where I know him from.
He is more open to MMA than most of the hardcore boxing guys, but he's a boxing guy, and early on I'm sure he was pretty skeptical about boxing because that was sort of a competition for HBO boxing, was the rise of the UFC. And so he interviewed Ronda. And I don't know what was said behind the scenes as far as, what are we talking about? I don't imagine that you go on ESPN and say, hey, man, like, we can't talk about X, Y, and Z. Like, ESPN is, it's entertainment, but it's also sports journalism, sports media. So you would think that all bets are actually on when it comes to comments. And in the past, anytime Ronda has been asked about her losses to Holly Holm and to Amanda Nunes, she's basically looks to the right, looks down, thinks for about 10 seconds, and then just goes, let's move on. I don't want to talk about this. And even
she's been very affected by the losses. It's just not even. I don't think she's acting. Is what I'm trying to say.
No, it's very real emotion. Yeah. And this is even, when she first made her, she first showed up in the Royal Rumble, she did an interview with her girl, Ramona Shelburne, who is a reporter for ESPN. She usually covers the Lakers, the LA scene in general for basketball, but she's also covering Ronda for the women's version of ESPN's website. And they have become, at least as far as I know, she's kind of Ronda's person who's they break news to and who's kind of got the inside scoop. And even when Ramona interviewed Ronda after the Royal Rumble, same thing. She did not have to. She did not answer Ramona in a way that you'd think that she would. She was still the same with Ramona as she was with with other media, and so. This interview started with Max Kellerman being very defensive about his question, almost like he didn't want to answer it. Ask it.
He didn't want to ask it.
Like he didn't want to ask it. It was almost like he was afraid of her answer, so he asked it in this really roundabout way, basically saying like, a lot of the media, were negative on your loss. I wasn't one of them. I said, hey, everybody loses at some point, And Ronda wasn't buying it. She was like, I don't know about that. Like,
do you remember if he wrote anything at the time? Because I don't remember.
So I don't know if he did or not, but he's on every ESPN show and on HBO
Yeah, he's
Boxing.
like the new Skip Sheffield now, right? That's
Skip Bayless,
right.
you mean?
Skip Bayless, Skip Sheffield.
Skip Sheffield is a former
Isn't that
WWE
Ryback? Okay, yeah, Skip Bayless. Sorry, I'm on half an hour sleep.
Yeah, we'll get through this before you get too delirious. Delirious, pun intended. And so she answered in a way that made you think like she's not buying what Max is selling. Now,
yeah,
if you interview Ronda, you have to think, if I ask her a hard question, she may not be very tolerant of it because she hasn't been in the past. And but it doesn't mean you shouldn't ask the question, right? Like if you have a question, you should ask it. That's journalism. The way that Max asked it, I thought, was sort of disguising a way that Ronda normally is asked this question, almost to the extent of like, hey, I know you don't like to answer this question, but I'm going to ask it in a more positive way. And I think Ronda was just like, come on, that's bullshit. I'm not stupid.
She took it as passive aggression?
Right. That's what I think.
Yeah, okay.
But
look, that makes sense.
But look, here's the thing, right? We know that she is not good with this stuff. We know that she doesn't like this stuff. And I felt it was real emotion. Now, does she look good standing up there? Does it look good being in conflict with the media? It doesn't, especially to casual fans who don't really know you. They go, "Oh, wow, that girl is a I don't call women by this word, but that girl's a bitch." That's the initial thing that comes out.
Wasn't there a story, correct me if I'm wrong, where she was on like Jimmy Kimmel, and didn't they tell them not to ask her, specifically do not ask her about MMA?
I think
was it Kimmel?
I think that's kind of the deal when you book Ronda for these shows.
Yeah, which is like, I mean, look. I've dealt with that before in my industry, and it's really hard to be a journo, to use one of your words, and not ask the tough questions. I mean, sometimes you just have to, but I personally am not a fan of that.
Well, look, Ellen, right? Ellen, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, those are entertainment shows. Those aren't journalistic shows. But ESPN is a journalism show. There is an element of entertainment sports, network, right? But I think she was just as offended by sort of the trying to disguise a tough question or a question that she may not want to answer as like Max is her buddy. I think she kind of took offense to that. So not a good look, but real emotion from a real athlete, from a real star, right? She wasn't John Cena and Roman Reigns and The Miz robot in that mode, which I thought made it stand out, and that's why I think it's getting a lot of play. It's getting a lot of Twitter posts and stuff, because she was like, I'm not really going to do what you want me to do with this question. So,
yeah, it's like she's good at doing the media stuff, right? Because she is a good talker. But I feel like what she's going to have to do, in my opinion, is she's going to have to really have a good first year in WWE. And then I feel like if she does, in maybe a year or so, these questions are just not going to come up as frequently. Because it'll be mostly about her WWE career. You know, bringing up her UFC losses would be kind of ancient history in a way. Sort of like with Brock. You know, people don't really bring up the Brock loss to him that much anymore. It's been so long.
Well, and so that's my question, which is, does Max Kellerman ask Brock that same question in that same way?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't think so. I don't know, because Brock was there, and I feel like Coach was there for that interview, and I feel like he never really brought that up. But also Brock seems to handle that better. I don't know. Are you trying to imply that you think that Kellerman's sexist?
No.
Is that your implication?
No. I don't think he's sexist. I think with Brock, you know that if you ask that question, he might walk off the stage, right?
That was a stupid question.
And leave, right? I mean, he even told our boy Dave Meltzer that he was asking a dumb question one time.
That was a stupid question.
And we know Dave doesn't ask dumb questions.
Right.
And so the second video that kind of went out there and went viral was her with Mike Golick, and he similarly asked a question about Ronda, and in the same vein, right? You could tell she wasn't interested in the way that he asked this question. He was kind of
Was this when she revealed that she did not have a time machine?
Right.
Okay.
He said back in time, and she knowingly that she kind of making fun of him taking that question literally. And again, I think to her it's like, if you want to be brave and ask me that question, like, go ahead and ask it. I'm not going to answer it, but don't try to play me for a fool by making this question seem positive. And it's really the same question that I'm always getting that I'm not answering. So I thought it was real. I thought it was if she doesn't answer it in these ways, we probably don't even really pay attention to it. I probably don't see it on all over Facebook and Twitter. But I can understand from the fans who are a little frustrated with the way that she answered, just because it was conflict. It was a conflict. She created a conflict on a normal question. But I also think that it stands out in a way that John Cena and Roman Reigns and The Miz and guys like that who also do the media, they would never, because they're company, they're company men. They're the company men from a publicly traded company, and guess what?
Puppets.
And
corporate puppets.
Whatever. I mean, that's their job, right? But Ronda doesn't give a shit. She is more about herself as her own personal brand and her own emotion, really, what it is.
So she's basically an 80s wrestler, essentially.
I mean, I don't know if she's Dr. D. David Schultz, but
no, come on now, bro. Nobody's Dr. D.
Well,
do you think that maybe her being like that is going to, in a weird way, kind of give them a little more publicity, and that those videos, if it was just a regular interview, would those videos have gone, quasi viral?
I don't think so. And if I'm WWE, here's how I play it, right? Because if we go back to Raw, she's on TV, she's in a segment with Kurt, and then Absolution comes out, and Paige is calling her baby girl. She called her that like 10 times. Baby girl, you should.
Poor Paige.
I mean,
it's been a rough few years for her. That's all I'm gonna say.
Actually liked Paige in the segment, because I think Paige kind of carried the segment. But the idea was that Paige is like, hey, you're by yourself. I don't know if Kurt's got your back, but we can have your back, and we want to invite you to Absolution. And Ronda was like, I appreciate it, but no, I'm good. And so they had Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville attack her, and she clotheslined the hell out of Sonya Deville, and then put Mandy in the armbar. And so she was very angry with the demon red eye makeup under her eyes, whatever that was. And so if I'm WWE, I play it off as like, look, this is how Ronda is before fights. Like, she's in her zone. You don't mess with Ronda 2 weeks before her fight. This is real to her. That's how I play it off, right? She's a complete asshole to these ESPN journalists who probably don't really care that much about WWE. And thus, this is the Ronda you see before fight time. You got the smiley Ronda at Royal Rumble, happy to be here, just want to do my job, I just want to be part of the team. But
I see where you're coming from.
But come fight time, you get the real Ronda. You get the Ronda who's locked in. And that's how I would play it on WWE TV.
Well, they did do your idea where they had it was kind of a combination of our ideas. I wanted to go more comedic with it, which was the Triple H Stephanie segment with them training. But the thing is, dude, look, and I'm not saying this from somebody who's familiar with, like the business or whatever the case is, or UFC or anything, but we all know that Stephanie McMahon is in great shape. Same thing with Paul. They have those fitness videos. They're in very good physical condition. I mean, her dad is Vince McMahon. He's all about being in shape. But I just don't buy her as being tough. I just can't. I'm sorry. I just can't buy her as being I'm not tough in the sense of like taking bumps and licking her wounds. Tough as in the sense of having a single iota of a chance of beating Ronda Rousey in a fight. I don't give a damn if Ronda lost to Amanda Nunes 18 times in a row. You know what I mean? Like there's just no chance Stephanie has. And I was kind of hoping they would play that up for the audience to kind of give them a little, I guess, a little teaser of what could happen at the big show. But they didn't do it. Maybe they will do it on the go home. But one thing I will tell you is I absolutely loved the promo work that they did. Paul is so good, bro, and Stephanie's so good too, because the promo where he's like, this isn't the octagon, and then she's like, this is my ring, I was raised here, and all that. I really enjoy that stuff. They're so good at what they do. You know what I mean? That's why, I agree that Steph needs to sell a bit more and all that, but they're pretty. It's like I'm sick of heel authority figures. I've been sick of it for years, but they're so good that I kind of want them to stick around.
So I agree with you. I thought the video was really good. The only part that I didn't like was when their trainer was like, they're just as good as professional, real professional athletes. I thought that.
I mean, Triple H is like, I've been beating up Kurt Angle for years, and then they showed why have they not played into the fact that Kurt Angle at one time almost seduced Stephanie, bro? Where's that?
That's why I thought they were going to have the match, because I thought they were going to lead down that way. Now the Ronda thing changes it, and I'm sort of okay with that, because it would be a secondary storyline compared to just Ronda Rousey being there. But that's why I wanted them to have the match originally before Ronda, because I thought that would be great, a great callback to 1999 or whatever it was, 2000.
Maybe 2000. Maybe Kurt should just say, maybe he should come out and say I don't know, by the way, I kissed your wife, or just maybe one line that might be enough.
No, that's awesome. That would be awesome for them to do that. Now, what did you think about Ronda? So I agree with you. Stephanie is not tough, and I'm not exactly sure if they were trying to sell that. What they were trying to sell is that Stephanie is not a pushover, but it's more about the fact that they are the bosses and that they're going to be able to get their way no matter what. And I think that was necessary to put into the angle, because, like you said, there's no real. It's not realistic to even think that Stephanie has a chance with Ronda in a real fight for any more than 3 seconds, right? This is like
Right.
do you,
so do you think they're gonna do like the female? And this actually could happen now that I think about it. Post Mania, the female version of Austin McMahon.
I think that's kind of what this thing is set up to be.
That's what it sounds like, but I mean it's gonna continue. Like Stephanie will get other wrestlers and stick them on Ronda.
Yeah.
You know, like Nia Jax's babyface, but like, you know, maybe they can bring up some monsters or whatever, and they can do stuff like that. I mean, to keep the story going. So when she loses at Mania, she can't handle it. You know what I mean? And you know, then it continues. They could do that.
Yeah, because it's gonna be like she couldn't beat Ronda, but it's gonna be her life's destiny to find someone who can beat Ronda, because Ronda's just a rookie. She shouldn't be able to beat all of their trained wrestlers. Like it's going to be her goal to find someone to finally beat Ronda. I think it's really good, actually.
It could work for the rest of the year. That could be the angle for the rest of the year if they wanted it to be.
And I think now we're talking a year into the future, right? I think the way that I would do it is I would have the 4 horsewomen come into picture, or maybe just Shayna. And eventually, I would have Shayna turn on Ronda in sort of a Paul Orndorff, Hulk Hogan kind of way, where she's just sort of jealous of everything that Ronda has.
Jealous eyes?
Well, I mean, not quite jealous eyes. But
not for Travis Brown.
Like no, not Travis Brown. He is not the male version of the great Miss Elizabeth.
Nobody is, bro. Let's be real. Fashion. Nobody's the male version.
But think about this. Think about this story from the perspective of Shayna Baszler, right? Shayna Baszler is a pioneer in women's MMA. You know, kind of from the beginning, fighting in barns. You know, fighting against people from the crowd in a sense, and
Ronda comes around and gets all this love. Exactly. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
And so if you have them together and they're just running roughshod over everybody, at some point Shayna turns, and now you got to fight. You got a real fight between 2 real fighters, and maybe there's something in the fact that
a fake fight between 2 real fighters.
Yeah, but you play it up as real as possible.
This is not some New Japan, you know. Well,
I mean, they could make it look UWFI if they wanted to, right?
Absolutely. Well, I'll be honest. I don't know if they're good enough, but hopefully by then they will be. You know.
And then you have the thing with Shayna, which is, okay, Ronda, you might be the better fighter, but I'm the better professional wrestler, and that's why I'm going to beat you. And then she beats Ronda, and then you have you have a whole thing right there. So I know we're sort of booking into the future, and
La Rock is going to be mad about that, bro.
No, you don't
know the politics they're going to play.
No, he's actually probably like nodding his head, like, "Yep, that's a good idea. That's a good idea."
I like how when you say it's a good idea, but when I say it, it's like, oh well, you're not in my shoes.
It's just because you said that booking was easy. That's why.
Well, no, I said booking Daniel Bryan and Miz was easy. That's what I said. I can't even imagine the nightmare of the Undertaker and Cena, which we're going to get to probably shortly here, but that's confusing.
Actually, let's. I was going to go to the Daniel Bryan thing, but since you brought it up, let's talk about Cena and Undertaker. Nothing happened again.
Well, I mean, it's like more promos and Cena making really strange faces into the camera.
Oh my god!
The Kane match. So this is what's weird. The Kane match was fine. I don't understand why they closed with it if they weren't going to have Taker come out. Like, I feel like that was sort of clickbait. Like, they closed with the show. So, okay, we're going to have a big finale with Taker coming out, the gongs, and they did not do it. There were other matches and segments that could have closed that show, including the Lesnar-Roman segment, which I loved. But I guess they did it early because they didn't want to lose the audience. I get it. That's fine. But
you know what quarter hour was the highest, was the second, which ended with the Ronda stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that could have also closed if they wanted to. But again, I don't really care about, Paige's group. But still, I feel like they kind of made you think, okay, something's going to happen here. They're kind of messing with the not the hardcore fan, the longtime fan who's watched Raw and knows kind of how they order things, because that's what they do. They usually end Raw with some kind of big cliffhanger, especially on the road to Mania.
Yep.
And they didn't do it. It was just he cut the promo and he walked away, and then it was like, okay, next week. And I'm just the match is happening. It's funny because I've had some people actually say, does this mean the match is not happening? Like, brother, how long have you been watching wrestling? It's happening. It's just,
well, I guess it is working in that sense, right?
It is.
To me and you, it's not really working. but to some fans, they are really making them wonder.
But shouldn't they finally just – I just find it weird that they're going to actually do the announcement on the go-home show. We don't know if Taker's going to actually be there. They might just wait till Mania to unveil him. And here's the thing I'm going to say right now, okay? In my opinion, this would have been much more effective if we didn't see Taker at the Anniversary Raw. The fact that we saw him there, I think, takes a little bit away from this. It'd be better if they kept the mystery all the way to where we haven't seen him in a year. You know what I really wish Cena would have done, and I wish he would have called back to that Raw, the Anniversary Raw, and tried to decipher if Undertaker was speaking in code, and to try and really figure I think the idea is that Cena is so obsessed with having a match that he has turned on the Undertaker, and pretty much unfairly turned on the Undertaker just to get him. Like, he's so obsessed with having a match, and so he should really kind of go crazy. Like, he should just be reading into things, like watching the. Shouldn't he? If he wants a match, why doesn't he just go in the Andre Battle Royal like everybody else? Well,
because he's not a jabroni.
Okay, but being in the crowd with the smelly fans is better. I mean, come on now.
You never know. He might be right next to you and your boy.
What was that? He might be. What was that Bill Belichick line? You know, if you think like a fan, you're going to end up being one of them.
I don't know. Maybe. But so.
Well, the real line is what did the creative team say? That's the real Bill Belichick line. But yeah, continue.
So I just wish that he would have been. You see him in the background. He's trying to analyze what Taker said, because Taker speaks in code, and he's like, oh, that means that he's ready to come back. And then that kicks off him really going after Taker. I think they could have done a lot better job with this. I don't like John Cena as his character to me is coming off as you're going to love this analogy. Jennifer Aniston. He's the Jennifer Aniston of the WWE. Do you know what I mean by that?
Absolutely not.
Okay, have you ever seen that movie? He's Just Not That Into You?
I don't think so.
Okay, so the movie is
I really haven't.
So the movie's, you know that line, though. The movie's about, you want to be together with this guy. You can want as hard as you can, but he's just not that into you, so it's not going to work. That's who John Cena is. He's begging the Undertaker, and I'm just like, bro, the Undertaker's not that into you. Let it go. I'm at that point with this storyline.
Yeah, but it's also I guess you're right. I don't know. I think it's made Cena look a little silly. That's what I'm trying to say. And I don't know if they really should be doing that. I mean, Cena's the kind of guy who he can go in there and lose to Taker and then come back in a few months or even the next night on Raw and just bounce right back, with a new feud. Like when he lost to Rock, at Mania 2012, 28. He came back the next night and started the Brock feud. So, I mean, all you got to do is have him get laid out again by a heel, and he's right back into it. So, he can lose. I think Cena can lose. I think he hasn't hit that point like Jericho did a few years ago where he was losing too much. I don't think he's hit that point yet. So, he can lose, I think. And I think I think they probably will go in that direction, but it is a bit silly going into this big WrestleMania match.
All right, so probably, more than likely, we'll see The Undertaker next week. If we don't, I think we talked about this, it'll be like WrestleMania 31 where he just shows up on the show. Okay, so if we move to the match that we said has kind of created maybe the most interest in this show is the return of Daniel Bryan. There was a situation with Shane McMahon that was reported that he developed a massive infection and a hernia due to acute diverticulitis while vacationing with his family in the Caribbean.
Not dysentery.
No.
So wait, so are you telling me that he's good friends with Glenn Buterol, like our boy Canelo, bro? Is that what you're telling me right now? Mr. Buterol? Is that what's going on?
Well,
let's blame the Spanish food. Let's blame the Spanish food now, the spicy food. Okay.
Well, think of all the guys that have gotten this in the in WWE, Brock, Vince, Ross, all steak eaters, man. Shane's just been eating a ton of steak.
Hey, La Rocca, that's your next big character for Premiere. Glenn Buterol. And his finisher is going to be called the Needle in the Haystack.
That's a good one.
I just made this. I just sold. You know how many tickets I just sold right now? I sold at least 15 tickets right now with that idea.
You might be able to headline Daly City at Cow Palace with that one.
Oh, are you going to that? The New Japan?
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
I would go if I was over there. Yeah. No. Yeah. You were saying?
No, I was just about
Shane.
So the story comes out that Shane is ill, and he is in the hospital, and he's got antibiotics running through his veins, and that he's going to have hernia surgery once the infection is cleared. So the thought was, okay, who's going to tag with Daniel Bryan now? Shane is obviously out.
Yes.
Yet on Smackdown today,
right,
Daniel Bryan cut a promo and said that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are currently still fired, though if they beat Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, they get their jobs back. And if they lose, then they're still fired. He said that Shane was going to wrestle.
Yep.
Can you wrestle? Is that a sort of a disguising of something else happening, or is Shane really if he's got to have hernia surgery? If he has the surgery, he's not going to be able to wrestle. So are they going to postpone the hernia surgery just so he could have this match?
I mean, what they could do is play it safe and do a very simple storyline where Daniel Bryan works most of the match, tags into Shane, but then Shane's diverticulitis kicks in, sort of like what they did with Lesnar. And they remember Lesnar and Roman the first time they had teased that when he was holding his gut that his diverticulitis had come back. So they could always play that into the finish where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn specifically target Shane McMahon's midsection, and that ends up leading to him losing, and then Daniel Bryan being disappointed. That is a possibility. Health-wise, I can't really make that call, but they could have this match to where Daniel Bryan works 90% of it and Shane just goes in there and gets pinned. And in a way sort of, ruining Daniel Bryan's big comeback, which I don't like, because the whole thing I thought they were going to do was have Daniel Bryan do the yes chant, at some point in the show and sort of relive Mania 30 again in the same building. But if he loses, I don't like the idea of him losing, but he has to lose because Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are coming back. I mean, they're not going to stay fired.
Sure. Yeah. No, I
don't know how
agree
I feel
with
about
you.
that. Yeah, they can get around it. But I guess it all depends on how Shane feels. Maybe he doesn't feel that bad. I mean, I really don't know. But he can always work a short one. I don't know.
I guess, or he's just the greatest worker of all time and went to the hospital just for this angle.
Actually, that's a good idea, bro. So besides Glenn Buterol, his manager, his valet, is going to be called Annie Bionics. There you go, bro. I don't know what her finish is going to be yet, but the MRSA.
Oh, Jesus.
The MRSA, bro. Well, I'm telling you, bro. I'm giving away too many good ideas right here.
Okay, so it could be, like you said, if Shane loses the match, Daniel's a little bit disappointed, and maybe they build, because you remember they were building a feud where they were not getting along at all. Like Daniel Bryan, was doing things that Shane didn't want him to do, and then Daniel Bryan's off the show, and so
I thought they had dropped that. Honestly, it feels that way.
I mean, they could always pick it back up, though, right? All it takes is for Shane to lose the match, and it would be kind of interesting. I don't know if I would do this. It would take a little bit of balls for the creative, but Daniel Bryan comes back to form a heel stable with Owens and Zayn.
That is ballsy. That's something they could do later on.
Yeah, but so you've got like the ultimate babyface of all time making his comeback, but really the only reason he came back was to was to turn on Shane and really create the super indie, stable. I wouldn't do it because there's so much money in Daniel Bryan as a babyface, and probably, I don't know if WWE sees him this way, but hell, like he's like the top guy right now, and there's so much money in that. So I mean, it would probably be really stupid to turn him heel, but that's a dumb idea. Even though it is slightly creative, it's kind of dumb for money reasons, but still, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yep, I know. I think I don't. Daniel Bryan in a heel stable sounds on paper cool. Him as a heel right now with his comeback, I don't know. Because, yeah, it's too soon, bro. But he is a great heel. I mean, he really is a great heel.
He can be, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, he has been. He has been in Ring of Honor.
But you know what?
For a whole year.
You know what happens is he turns heel and they just cheer him harder. So it's
like, especially with those two guys with him who are also kind of beloved by the fans. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, you never know. Maybe. I mean, I would like to see when Seth, when Dean comes back, you do that faction against the Shield at some point. There's a lot of things you could do with that. Forget it. Bring back faction warfare like '97, bro. Los Boricuas and shit, bro. Bring it back. Why not?
Okay, so there's a couple of news bits that came out of SmackDown today that we'll get to right now. But just reminding folks that last week we promised to give our thoughts on the match placement of WrestleMania, which we'll do at the very end of the show. So actually, let's talk about a couple things that came out of SmackDown. One of them, which being that Rusev was added to the U.S. title match, which at this point, totally fine. Like the three-way was a little stale. It's probably still pretty stale, but at least with Rusev, the crowd will be into it, right? It's they have gotten the crowd into this match just by putting him in the match.
I think what they should do is one of two things: either have him straight up win it, or have him get fucked out of it, leading to the legitimate babyface turn, which actually we kind of already got. But I like the idea of him almost winning the U.S. title and then not getting it, and then the idea is like he maybe Jinder screws him, and then you can do the Jinder one-on-one feud with Rusev, which I thought they had teased. Like, wasn't there like a tease last year they were going to do that feud for the WWE title, and they didn't do it? So,
yeah, I'd be down with either of those scenarios.
Yeah, plus I'm okay with it being a four-way because Raw already has a three-way for the IC, so it's like you don't want to have like the same match. Remember WrestleMania 20, how they had like both tag title matches were like these random four-ways? You don't want to do that. Yeah, you want to mix it up.
So in addition, the other thing that was sort of newsworthy is that Charlotte had some dental work done, and you know how that is when it goes to having dental work. And so she was not feeling, or I think it was more of like a sort of a physical appearance kind of thing for her. Like maybe she's got, she's still got some puffiness or something going on. And so she was off tonight's show. She was supposed to face Natty again in a rematch. And she's also out of the mixed match challenge. There was a thing, and I don't know what happened. It already happened, but I haven't followed up with what's going on. You had to vote in Becky, Lana, or Carmella to replace Charlotte because she wasn't able to do the match tonight. So I think she'll be okay. I mean, it's just if it's just sort of a visual thing, a cosmetic thing, 2 weeks is enough for her face to get a little bit better, and the swelling and whatever it was that happened. I don't know exactly the dental thing that happened, but so she was off the show, but so they didn't really get to do anything from the Charlotte Asuka standpoint. They'll probably go full bore. I would imagine that Asuka has to show up on SmackDown next week.
I don't even know why she's still on Raw. Like, I don't understand that. And don't say, oh, well, she's still a Raw talent. When Chris Benoit won the Royal Rumble in 2004, he immediately came to Raw, challenged for the belt, and immediately became a Raw guy. So I just don't – no, that doesn't work for me. Like, she should be working either both shows or working SmackDown too. Like, I don't know why they are doing this. I don't really understand it, to be honest. But I was going to say no, I mean – I don't know about why she's – and that's the thing is I can find out because somebody who I know is pretty close with her. So I can probably ask about that. I didn't even know until you just told me. So maybe I'll ask about it tomorrow if it's actually like a dental thing or what, But I have no idea. I mean, it's whatever, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% sure that that's what it is. And she probably wanted to work, right? Because that's just how these folks are wired. And then someone probably said like, hey, like you don't have to do it. So just take a week off. It's fine. But that just means they do have to full court press next week with what happens between Charlotte and Asuka.
What do you think about this? The supposed 205 Live tag team titles, another belt that's not going to matter.
It's probably too much, but if it's restricted to 205 Live show and Raw here and there, because all they do is do tag matches on Raw with those guys, right? So you could effectively just do more tag matches on Raw and then just, have a tag title on 205 Live that you defend once every other show. Like if you defend the tag title in one show and then the real title in another show, and you go back and forth, like who cares? Like it won't hurt anything, because it's not like it's not like they have this great established show that if they add things to it will hurt it. Like they're just trying to find something that works, because it's still even with Triple H having a big he has a big presence on that show now. Even with him, like nothing has really happened from a perspective of popularity. The show's probably better. Like I think this tournament has actually helped people really see 205 Live for what it was originally thought to be, which is, kind of like a worker show and exciting and high flying. And I think the matches in this tournament have been pretty good and good enough to where people have given it another chance, which is really good. But I don't think it's really grown in popularity too much. But yeah, I mean, it can't hurt. I don't know if it's going to help. It's like you said, it's going to be a nothing title. So
they would need more wrestlers. Like if they get like the Bucks or so, okay, then I get why they would have that belt.
If they got the Bucks and put them on 205 Live, that would be just as idiotic as turning Daniel Bryan heel right now.
I agree. I would watch every week though. That I would do. They'd have my view. Yeah. But I don't watch that show.
So you mentioned earlier that you really liked the thing that they did with Roman and Brock, playing off of last week, where Roman got stuck in the handcuffs and had to take German suplexes with handcuffs on. This week, Paul Heyman kind of called him out for not being a true, Samoan worker of the Afa and Sika. Like those guys would never miss work.
He's got to come out with the big drumstick.
And so
Islander music.
And so he calls him out, and Roman does show up, and he just gets brutalized again and doesn't have the handcuffs to use the excuse for this time.
It was very old school, which I liked, and it's obvious, he's gonna win. He's gonna win, but they got to have the bad guy beat him up, for a while. I love that spot where he ran up on the steps and then got caught in the German. It would have been a good Mania spot, but I like the way I liked that. I liked the beatdown. I really did.
And then the F5 onto the steps.
That looked nasty too. That was pretty brutal.
Yeah, he's right. It looked like he dropped him right on his stomach or his windpipe.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to switch this to a no DQ match.
That's what was my question after watching that too, and I think they should. At the end,
then they have an out. Then Roman can hit him with a chair and then spear him, and then it's like, well, use the weapon to beat the monster. Which I'm okay with, because I like the idea of a babyface chopping down a heel with a weapon. Like that does work.
Look, as long as they don't book some of these other matches to have lots of interference and lots of tables and chairs, then by the time if they do main event, and we'll talk about that in a bit when we do the match order, if they main event and the crowd is tired, at least you can utilize some other stuff that the crowd hasn't seen yet, like chairs and like steps and tables if they want to use tables. I don't know, has Brock taken a table before?
He has. I just don't remember when the last time was. He definitely has. I just don't remember when.
So yeah.
Oh, didn't he take one with Kane? Chokes him through the table in Royal Rumble, right?
You're the one with the good memory on this stuff. That's why I'm pretty
sure he took it there. And then also during the remember Samoa Joe laid him out on the table during their match.
I know he's had like announcer tables dropped on him, and he's probably been put through the announcer table, but I didn't know if he actually took like a table to the outside or something. But okay, so that they're definitely. I still like the match. I still think it's going to be good. I know people are kind of lukewarm on it, but I still think it's going to be really good.
No, I think it will be. I don't think the match quality will be bad. I wonder how the crowd will react, but I just don't see them cheering for Roman Reigns. He was getting booed tonight. It's just, or not booed. People were cheering for Brock. So it's just, you just gotta roll with the punches.
All right, we'll go through quick hits of these last couple topics before we get to our match order here. So Shinsuke, Nakamura, and AJ, I'm still not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it either. I mean, the match will be good, but there's just no story here. It's like Shinsuke's playing mind games with AJ, saying, you're too emotional is the story, and I think the story they're trying to tell is that AJ hasn't been able to defeat Nakamura yet, and he's worried he's going to lose again, right? And that is a logical storyline. Like, that is one that has been done before, but I feel like, having your babyface do that fake confidence, your top babyface in the brand, doesn't really do him any favors. It's not as – I don't know if it's as bad as what Cena's been doing, but it just doesn't do him any favors.
What about Sasha and Bayley? They do a pull-apart on Raw. I think they're in the Women's Battle Royal. It was kind of interesting that they did the turn now instead of maybe like post WrestleMania.
Who's the heel though? I'm confused.
I guess it's Sasha, right?
Yeah. By the way, did you see the WWE comic book thing about that?
Mm-mm.
So I don't read the WWE comics, but it was a meme that had kind of gone quasi-viral. But basically, in the WWE comics, I think it was actually Sasha and Bayley. They got into a fight in a locker room that looked almost identical to the one they shot on Raw, like the yellow lockers and everything, like 6 months or a year ago in the comic. And that's weird to me.
So you're telling me that the comic is canon to WWE's storyline?
Well, no, I'm not telling you that because the comic has like zombies and like Steve Austin still in there. But somebody in WWE like production, maybe they read the comic and were like, let's do it this way. It's weird when they do stuff like that. It's very rare. Remember the comic? I think the comic has like, I think in the comic like Randy Orton gets possessed by a demon or something, bro. It's weird. I don't read them for that very reason.
All right, man. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not into that. I can barely keep up with the Star Wars stuff.
Well, I don't want to anymore, but that's a whole other story.
You keep hating on that movie, that poor movie. Now you've turned The Last Jedi babyface, by the way. You know that, right?
No, I have not. I have not because now I've seen more and more people jump to the light side and agree with me. I have seen so many people now trash that movie more than 3 months ago.
I don't know, man. I think you've turned a babyface. I want to buy like 10 copies now.
You're being a douche for no reason. I've done nothing to you. I've done nothing to you. I was going to go buy it today. I didn't.
Another quick thing. Why do you think Michael Cole is the anti Matt Hardy Ultimate Deletion guy? Like, what does it do for this storyline for Michael Cole to be the one who is constantly shitting on it?
I think it's supposed to be originally it was like he's speaking through, like Vince is speaking through him. Mm-hmm. But I think now, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want some wackiness. I'm okay with like them doing a Matt Hardy Michael Cole feud. Just the idea of Michael Cole getting stuck on his ranch and like having to deal with the spiritual entities that are there, it's just total like cheesy wrestling good stuff. So again, I hate talking about this because WWE seems to always drop the ball when there's potentially great stuff that could happen. And I think this could be great. Like, I think that if they do something like that where Matt Hardy spooks Michael Cole into kind of being like, okay, you know what, I'm a Mattitude follower. We wouldn't have called that. I'm woken, you know what I mean? Now, they really want to get wacky because, look, Michael Cole's not – nobody takes him seriously. He's just not Jim Ross. They could have it to where when he goes to the ranch and Matt Hardy, like, scares him and brainwashes him, they could randomly have it to where during wrestling matches on television, Michael Cole goes into a trance, starts talking like Matt Hardy during the matches, right? And then goes back to normal again, doesn't realize he's doing it.
That would be funny.
I know, bro. That's another one for La Rocca right there, bro. These are like ticket selling ideas right here.
La Rocca got to book Broken Matt Hardy one time, or maybe even more than one time.
Was he broken or was it before he became broken?
No, he was broken.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
He was good too. Yeah. I was impressed. I got to see a match with Broken Matt Hardy and our boy JR Kratos, and it was good. Wacky. It was a good match. It was a good match. Matt Hardy was in. He was in way better shape than I thought he was going to be too. I was impressed.
Did Matt do the honors?
Of course not. Come on.
Okay, just wondering.
What if Cole gets thrown into the what is it, the Lake of Reincarnation?
That's what I'm saying. He goes in there. Wouldn't it be awesome if he went into like a reincarnation and Jim Ross came out? That would be great, wouldn't it? That would be awesome. But no,
what if he comes back as Mitchell Cole?
Then Jericho's got to come back at some point.
Yep.
I mean, by the way, are they doing Jericho Naito in the summer? Is that confirmed already?
Not confirmed. Jericho's keeping his stuff close to the vest.
Man,
like I expect, you know, because I was at the Long Beach show, and I expected Jericho to come out. Like I was like, this is a good time for him to come out. Nope, no Jericho. So I don't know what they're doing.
That's a Dominion main event right there. Jericho Naito.
It could be Dominion. It could be Cow Palace. It could be, you know, it could be on any one of their big shows for sure.
Is he doing the G1?
No, there's no way. Would you want to do the G1?
No, hell no. I mean, it would also be too much Jericho. They want to. I don't think they should be having him on TV all the time either.
Yeah,
or not on TV, on shows.
Absolutely. I mean, if Jericho does the G1, he'd have to have DDP in his corner, like taking him through DDP yoga after every match.
Well, I'd be okay with that. That I'd be okay.
That's actually pretty good. They should do that.
Yeah, anything with DDP, I'm on board for.
You're in on anything DDP, even if he does the old character with the smile and everything.
I'm fine with that too, brother. More dental jokes. Why not? Are you surprised that Bam Bam Bigelow did not get put in the Hall of Fame this year? Because I remember that was the rumor.
Well, watching Becky Lynch, I swear to God, I thought that they were going to lead to her ring outfit and say that Bam Bam Bigelow is going into the Hall of Fame. Did you see what she was wearing today?
The Bam Bam, yeah, I know.
She looked like Bam Bam. I was like, wow, like what? There has to be a reason she's wearing that singlet.
I'm thinking
the
Bam Bam thing. Yeah, I'm thinking it's Jersey next year, Asbury Park.
Probably
That's
good.
Yeah,
probably a good idea to hold them off.
Yep. But I've also thought about who's left as far as like Hall of Fame headliners, because there's not that many guys left as far as Hall of Fame headliners. You know, I mean, you've got factions, but like, okay, you've got what? Taker,
Rock and Taker. Those are like the last two guys.
Rock. Yeah, you got Taker, Rock, Cena later, Brock later, Batista later, Randy Orton later, and then but you've also got Lesnar also later. Like I think I may have already said his name.
Yeah.
But other than that, Kane. Are they going to let Kane headline a class?
Probably not.
He's been there a while.
He could be the second guy. He could be the semi-main.
And that's what I'm saying. There's not that many guys left to headline classes. I find that interesting.
Well, I mean, they could do like when Hogan gets back into good graces.
NWO could headline.
They could do the NWO.
Mr. America. They got to put Terra Rising in there too, so Hunter's gonna have 4 rings by the time this is all over with.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't done Evolution. They could do Evolution, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're gonna do Evolution, DX, Terra Rising, and
did DX already.
DX didn't go in yet.
I thought DX went in.
No, Shawn.
That was just Kevin Nash.
No, that was Shawn, and then they had the Click come out to at the end. So that's what it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then that's what I'm saying. Then they could have Paul Levesque go in as the ambassador for NXT, and the next Booker or whatever you want to call it. Like they could put him in a few times.
Yeah. Rock is the big one though. When he decides to do it, they're like they gotta like just push that like through the roof.
Absolutely. I don't think it'll be next year. But we'll see. We'll see what they do.
Okay, so the last thing I wanted to ask you about is. And I don't know if you've heard anything about this. Who's going to be Strowman's partner?
I have no idea. Zero clue. I feel like Elias is on his way to being a babyface. I feel like Samoa Joe would be effective. I literally have no idea. I have a feeling he's going to come out there and be like, my partner is these hands. And it's going to be a handicap match, but that might be a letdown.
I mean, he could do that, but like you said, it'll be a slight letdown. After I said Kurt Hawkins a few weeks ago. Now he's like campaigning for it. He's like putting all these pictures together with him and Braun together in the match and stuff. Like he's really trying to get that match.
He's a listener, bro.
Well, that means he's not going to get it because they're going to treat him like Zack Ryder.
Of course, they were former tag partners, bro. The Dude Busters or whatever the hell they were. What were the Edgeheads? The Edgeheads.
What if it's like Mojo Rawley?
No, come on. I hate that guy.
Oh, I would be so disappointed.
Mojo Rawley people who I never want to see again: Mojo Rawley, Baron Corbin, Ty Dillinger, and Michael Elgin. I don't ever want to see him again.
You know, if they really had this thing planned out a little sooner than they did, because I don't think Braun was kind of the backup guy, so they weren't sure exactly what they wanted him to do. They could have actually gone back to someone like Ellsworth. Who would have worked
we talked about
perfectly.
that, like a little guy.
Yeah, or just you think of any, this is not a good one, but you think of someone like who is the one-legged guy, Zach Gowen.
I was going to say Zack Ryder,
but anybody who's slightly popular and maybe not a top guy, maybe someone who's on main event a lot, because what you could do is you could literally make a guy in a night and he's the tag team champions, and then all of a sudden the fans see him in a different way that you've constantly been beating whoever it is for the last half a year, and then maybe you make maybe he all of a sudden comes into the
what if it's Husky Harris out of the Lake of Reincarnation?
If it was 6 months from now, I think that would be a great idea.
Wyndham Rotunda, bro, like I told you last week, gonna come out there and shoot Cowboy, because we do that on edgy wrestling.
Maybe it should be Skip Sheffield, like you said earlier.
Why not, bro? I mean, he has to keep reading The Secret, bro, and figure it out.
All right, I think that's all the news of what's going on, and we recapped the big parts of the shows this week.
He should work J.R. Kratos in the main event and have Glenn Buterol referee it. That'd be awesome.
Those are two big men. Oh, by the way, your boy Jeff Cobb, I saw him this weekend. That dude,
he's so good.
He's so good. He had an amazing match with Jonah, what is his name? Jonah Rock, I think his name is. Let me look it up. You might hear typing in the background.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is, actually. I don't know who Jonah Rock is.
He's I think he's maybe an LA guy. I'm not exactly sure, but this guy, so imagine, Jeff Cobb is probably like my height, but he's like,
yeah, but he's chiseled.
Oh
bro.
my God, he's like 260 pounds, right? Just thick as all hell. And he's facing this guy who's probably even shorter than me, but wider than Jeff. And so these guys at the PWG show, these guys are like throwing each other into the corner, into the buckles. They're like doing stuff where the ring is actually like lifting up from the floor. Like, that's how hard these guys are going. And the Jonah Rock guy did a Eddie Guerrero froggy splash from the top rope, which is I was kind of like, oh, come on, like, just be a big man. But I mean, it was still pretty impressive. But those guys, dude,
I'm still mad that Cobb never really got a fair shake. I don't think. I mean, I honestly feel that way. I don't think he ever got a fair shake. Remember, they teased him coming in, and he never came in.
Well, I mean, he's finally out of. He's finally going to be out of Lucha Underground, from what I understand. So he'll be free, he'll be free to do something else. So, he could, there's going to be opportunities for him, whether it's in New Japan, whether it's in ROH, I don't know, TNA maybe, there's going to be opportunities for him because, this is what I tweeted out when I was at PWG. I was
keep away from Michael Elgin, though.
It might be good for him, actually, to be near Michael Elgin, because then he doesn't get any heat. I tweeted out that, to that PWG audience, Jeff Cobb was more over than the Easter Bunny on his day. That's an old Conanism.
That is old, bro. Almost like toss my salad and peel my potatoes, bro.
Bowdy and Rowdy.
I am excited that Keith Lee got signed, supposedly. I
don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. He just won the PWG title.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I was just gonna say I don't know if that's even a real story, but because he's like Bob Sapp. I mean, he's not as chiseled as Bob Sapp, but he's got so much charisma. I know he had a really good match. He had a really, really good match with Jeff Cobb on Beyond Wrestling a little while ago. It was, I think, a year ago. So those guys, two big dudes who are super athletic, so that I just feel like there's a lot of talent out there that they could use. But
yeah, very impressive. PWG was a fun show. I don't know if it was necessarily like my cup of tea for like a wrestling show, but the way that I described it to someone was, let's say that you go to a party with your 10 best friends, and you guys know you're going to have a good time, you're going to hang out, you're going to shoot the shit, and then a wrestling show happens right in front of your face. Like, that's kind of what it is. It was pretty
That's
fun.
what I've been told.
Fun experience.
Yep. I've been told the same thing.
All right, so let's talk about the match order here for WrestleMania 34. So I think one of the things that we talked about was, how do you do a card where you have 2 battle royals on the same show? Does it mean that one of the battle royals is on the pre-show and the other battle royals on the main show? You remember WrestleMania 32, they actually had the battle royal on the main show. They had Shaq in the battle royal. You remember that? So that was on the main show. But last WrestleMania 31, it was on the pre-show. And last year, what was the battle royal on last year? Was it on the pre-show?
It was on the pre-show. Yeah, remember that was the one that had that Cronkite, that Stanley Cronkite guy, or whatever, that jabroni from the Patriots. Remember that whole thing?
Okay, you know who Stanley? You know who you're talking about? You're talking about the Denver Nuggets
Walter
owner.
Cronkite.
Yeah, no. You're talking about Stan Kroenke. That's
what I said.
Who's the Denver Nuggets owner? Who the WWE got kicked out of the arena and then had to go do a show in LA because they got kicked out of the arena. Remember that?
I will never forget that as long as I live. 2009 WWE. Yeah, because that was when. Remember, that was the night that that Orton was wrestling Ken Kennedy and he messed up his wrist and we never saw him again, because that's when he complained and then he got fired.
And then so the other guy. So you're thinking of Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, that guy. Who cares?
All right, so knowing that the Cruiserweight Championship is probably going to be on the pre-show,
yeah,
would you put the 2 battle royals also on the pre-show?
Before we started recording this, I did have it that way, and I've changed my order. The answer is no. I will not put both battle royals in the pre-show.
Okay, I think it's a good idea. If you did put them in the pre-show, and you sort of were able to distance them in a sense, I think it could work. But you're right; it's probably better not to have the both of them on the pre-show. You kind of want to space them out a bit.
Yeah, no, I would open with Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali. That'd be the first match.
Okay.
Then I would follow up with the women's battle royal.
Okay.
Now, the reason why I would put the men's battle royal on the main show, and I'll tell you why in a minute, for 2 reasons. Number one is you can have the guys coming out to the ring while they have the opening package for Mania. That way you kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You just have them come out in the live crowd while the opening package plays. You could do that. And then also, because of the Andre movie coming out, I feel like they want to push that a bit more this year and have it be on the main show.
That's a good point.
Yep, and then I would end the pre-show with the Usos versus the New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers in a triple threat for the WWE SmackDown titles.
Okay,
that's a good main event for a pre-show.
That's pretty interesting, because I would actually open the show with that match, the main card. So what would you open the main card with then?
Andre Battle Royal. That's what I'm saying. You open with the Andre Battle Royal.
Oh, I see. Got it.
Yeah, you have the guys coming out. Yeah. Yep, that's how I would do it. Mm-hmm.
Is Kid Rock going to play them out?
K-Rob played himself out, bro.
Okay, so what's your second match to open the show?
Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax.
Okay.
I'm not like most girls.
Is that a long match or is that a short match?
No, it's not going to be. I don't think it should be a squash because you want to protect Alexa, even though they could do it because she can get her heat back, but not that long. Like maybe 5 minutes, that. Then I would go with The Miz, Seth Rollins, and Finn Balor.
Okay.
Good wrestling match, solid wrestling match.
Even though The Miz is playing those guys like a drum, like at every turn, The Miz is one step ahead of those goofy baby faces.
Well, I hate to say it, but I think Miz should retain, mostly because I have plans for what I'm going to do with him later on the card. So Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn goes on next.
Okay.
That's the hour 1 main event going into hour 2. It'll start at the end of hour 1, beginning of hour 2.
Okay.
And now we know that Daniel Bryan and Shane are probably going to lose. The heels are going to win, pinning Shane. Then you could do a backstage vignette later on where Miz is berating Daniel Bryan, telling him, "Hi, you came back from retirement, but in the back, but you still lost." And then during the draft, because the whole thing is going to be that Miz talks shit to Daniel Bryan, teasing him, saying, "You'll never ever be on my level." And it's too bad we're on different shows. If we're on the same show, I would school you on wrestling every week. Then during the draft, you end up moving him on the same show. You put Miz on Smackdown, then you have that feud. And you finally do that, in May or in June. So there is that. Then I go with Charlotte Flair versus Asuka, right? SmackDown Women's title, and you give that time. That's a wrestling match you want to give time to. Mm-hmm. I think Asuka should win, my opinion.
And we'll give our preview next week as far as who we think should win and lose. That'll be a fun way to look at this whole thing in sort of like the summary way before we watch the big show.
Right. Then I would go with the Cesaro and Sheamus and Strowman and mystery partner, and that could be a short match. Like that doesn't have to be long. You know what I mean? I don't think that should be long at all. Then you go with John Cena versus The Undertaker, right? You have that be, I think we're at hour 2 or hour 3. We're at hour 2 or 3. I don't know what hour we're on, whatever. You do that. Then I would go with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura as the co-headliner. Give that time if AJ can do it. Then Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H 70 Man as the co-main event. And then you end with Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. And if you want to give people a buffer, you can always throw in like the Hall of Famers coming out, the attendance record that's going to be fake number anyways. Like you can do that. But I think closing the show with Cena, AJ, Angle, and Brock, I know it's rare for them to put 4 big matches back to back like that. I think this year could work. I really think it could work this year.
I like it. I like it. Now mine is slightly different. And I'll sort of give you the reasons why. Of course. But I like the fact that we both think that Lesnar and Reigns should main event. Brock is still he's the champ. He's the best. He should be in that main event, especially if you're trying to get Roman over. So I completely agree with you. Now, I kick the show off with the. So I was, what I was going to do? Well, what I was going to do is I was going to kick the show off with the Women's Battle Royal and then put Alexa and Nia as the main event to the pre-show. But then I kind of feel like I don't know if I want to have 2 women's matches in the pre-show. I kind of want to space it out a little bit more. Yeah. So here's what I'm going to do. So we're gonna start with Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali as the opener of the pre-show. And then we're going to go with I hate doing it this way, but okay. So I will do it the way that I said, which is I think the second match should be the Women's Battle Royal. Yeah. And the thing is that I would have liked to put the Women's Battle Royal on the main show because I think the main storyline is going to be Sasha and Bayley, right? It's got to be. I would have liked to have put it on there, but the only reason I didn't is because of the Andre movie coming out. That's the only reason why. And that makes a lot of sense, and that makes sense to kind of how they're thinking because they don't want Andre to be in the jobber hour of the show. Plus, there's no Moolah anymore, bro. Right. So then, like I said, main event is Alexa and Nia. And if it's in the main event segment of the pre-show, they may be able to have a little bit longer of a match than I would have had on the main show. Where Alexa's just, getting all kinds of heat, and then we get big comeback, and boom, Nia wins. That's not a bad idea, actually, having that headline the pre-show. And then I would open with the Usos versus the New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers, because I think that match is going to be really hot because the Usos, I think some of what they're saying about being at WrestleMania, like that's real feelings, right? Like they want to be on that show so badly. They want to be on the main show. Open with those guys because those guys are going to be going crazy to do what to just be on that show. So I like that as the opener. Yeah, I feel like tag teams in WWE are just never going to really get
that much love. Like, and you know, and like maybe not to. It's just this era, like it's just not going to happen, you know. And I kind of wish somebody would come around and make like a territory or and nowadays independent, you know, territory, whatever, and really do like the old school Jim Crockett, where like tag teams are actually the main event, like when the Rock and Rolls were around, like, you know, like actually make a tag team the main event, like the top act. I think the last time we actually saw that was ECW in '93 with Public Enemy. That was the last time they actually had a tag team be like the main event act, and I don't think we've seen that since then. You know,
Young Bucks versus the Golden Lovers.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but are they going to always do that?
Well,
is that going to close the Dome show?
You know what's actually unfortunate is they had. Did you get to watch that show?
No.
So
I did not.
You should go back and watch at least that match, because I would love to get your take on it. But you had the Young Bucks and the Golden Lovers as the main event in New Japan's third U.S. show, second year that they're doing, or you know, they've done U.S. shows before, but in this sort of new, international expansion that they're doing, and that match was really good. But then
with the people in it, it had to be good.
Oh, it was really good. I don't know if it was better than Jericho Omega or Gargano Almas.
But is it a fiver?
It's close. It's really close. I want to watch it on TV again, because I saw it live, and there was some early missed spots because I think Kota Ibushi got hurt. I think he may have even got a concussion. So Jesus. there was some missed stuff where it's just like you could tell, like, you know, they were trying to do a lot of stuff, and you're not going to hit everything perfectly. But so you think they just had this great match, main events access, you know, just great show, standing ovation, and then the poor Young Bucks got to open up the Sakura Genesis show in Japan in a nothing match. Like, you go from main eventing in the U.S. to opening the show in Japan. It's
crazy.
It's like, you know, yeah, you know, you guys are doing great in the U.S., but still, like, in Japan, you guys, you know, you're not there yet. It was kind of funny. Not funny, because I think they should be, you know, I think they should be bigger stars in Japan too, rather than just junior tag team. But that's just the way they do it.
Yeah.
So I would have that open, and I like Orton, Rude, Mahal, and Rusev as the second match, because, like we talked about, now that Rusev is in that match, I think they're going to keep the crowd. The crowd's going to be fired up for Rusev Day, and Orton. I think Orton fits very well.
I'm sorry, I just realized I didn't even book that match.
Oh, you missed it?
Yeah, I did. Oh, fuck! How did I miss it?
I mean, come on.
All right, fine. Then that'll be somewhere. Anyway, that's I can't believe I missed it. Yeah, that'll be close to the end. Keep going.
Okay, so then I would go after that match. I would do the Miz, Seth, and Finn Balor match. They probably won't do it that way, because they probably won't have the IC and the US title matches back to back to back. But I kind of feel like I want to build up to the bigger stuff, and you can do that when you know you're going to have good matches. Like, I expect the four-way to be a good match. I expect the Intercontinental match to be a good match. I expect the Miz to kind of, you know, be out of it for a little while and just let those two guys go at each other. And I think it's going to be a really good match. And then I would go into sort of like the brutalness of Strowman, Cesaro, and Sheamus, where it's probably going to be a little bit shorter. Maybe if you bring in a guy who's unexpected. I actually thought when you know, I was thinking about it, I was like, where's Dean Ambrose? But I remembered that his injury was like a 9-month thing, and it's only been like 4 months since he got hurt, so he's not going to be in it. And then I would build up to I think I would put AJ Nakamura after that, because and it's not really any fault of their own, but I feel like the last four, at least the last three main matches have to be Brock Roman, Cena Taker, and Angle Rousey, and then adding Angle Rousey and Triple H Stephanie, and then adding the Daniel Bryan thing. Like, I think those have to be like the main four matches. Now, I'm going to put the Battle Royal in as like the breather match before the main event. Yeah. But I can't put those matches in front of the AJ match, just based on the coldness of the AJ match. And
yeah,
so,
no, I can't even disagree. It's just, and then also there's he's injured. He's not that injured, but he's still injured. And having there be, if something were to happen to him, you don't want it to be too late on the card. It could be catastrophic. It does suck though that they get that something bad that's not higher than it should be. But what can you do really?
And then I'd actually go Charlotte Asuka next, and you could say, why don't you put Charlotte Asuka in front of AJ and Nakamura? But I just feel like there might be a more intrigue in Charlotte Asuka than in AJ Shinsuke.
You're pairing up the Orient versus the U.S.
Yeah, now that I think of that, they probably won't do that for that reason. But I'm just looking at it from like a championship thing.
Does Nakamura win the title?
I think he should.
I think AJ should win, but if AJ really is hurt, then yeah, that's the other way around. It's going to come down to that.
I want to see AJ be a contender for Roman. That's what I want to see on the other side.
I do too. We saw it 2 years ago already. We've seen that before.
Sure, but at this point, I think it's just it's a good time to bring that program back. AJ is he's the quintessential worker in that company, so I think it'd be good to have him back in the mix on Raw. And then I would go Daniel Bryan. I'd do the Daniel Bryan Shane because I think I still want Angle Rousey in the semi-main spot. Though again, I'm gonna bridge that match and actually I'm gonna bridge the Cena Taker match and the Brock Lesnar match with the Battle Royal. So you can't really go wrong with if you want to say Cena Taker third and Angle Rousey second. I'm totally fine with that. If you want to throw the Daniel Bryan match,
the thing
second,
about Angle Rousey is with Angle Rousey you can have a lot of like smoke and mirrors. You know what I mean? A lot of like
absolutely.
stalling.
And that might actually that might be a good reason to put it fourth from the top, because you might have a little bit of the smoke and mirrors with Lesnar and Reigns too, especially if they make it no DQ.
But but that's different kind of smoke and mirrors. What I'm referring to is more so like a lot of stalling and like things like that. I don't mean like garbage wrestling, but because I think Reigns and Lesnar should be just a brutal. I'm hoping it's a brutal like Bill Watts style main event. That's what I'm hoping for. So,
and I have Cena Taker as like really the second most important match, because I still think there's a specialness to that entrance, to that music, to
that building where the streak ended,
to the tombstone, to Cena really wanting to make sure that Taker looks good in this match. Though it's going to be kind of weird because Cena's so clumsy these days. Like he's been on a bad like run for matches to me. And then like I said, Battle Royal, and then the Brock Lesnar. Now, do you think they're gonna add anyone to the Battle Royal? Because I have an idea for the Battle Royal.
The male Battle Royal?
Yeah, the men's Battle Royal.
I'm guessing some NXT guys. Maybe Joe if he's ready. That's all I can think of. Keith Lee is not going to be him, even though that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
I don't know.
So here's my prediction. Winner of the Andre Battle Royal. Let's say it's a babyface. I actually want it to be a babyface, and I'm actually not sure who could be. What's Big Show doing? Because this would actually work well with Big Show, even though he's won this stupid match before.
I have no idea what Big Show's doing. I have no clue. Okay. Zero clue.
So I'm going to pick the Big Show to win, okay?
All right.
Big Show raises his hand. He wins the match. Real American starts to play. Hogan comes out.
Oh, boy.
He's he's going to be the star of that Andre doc.
And then Shelton Benjamin comes out and takes the big leg for some reason.
So, no, I don't know if he can even throw the big leg right now, but Hogan comes out. He's going to be the star of that Andre documentary. I can just sense it. He's so humble about, Andre was sports entertainment before sports entertainment. He's going to be so over after that doc is over that I think it's, I don't know. I just feel like, even though I don't even know that I would do it because of the whole Moolah thing, but it just feels like there's an opportunity for Hogan to come out at this show. And then who better than to hand the Andre trophy than Hogan
In the Silver Dome.
In the Silver Dome.
Right.
And he hands it to Andre's son.
That's right, bro. The son of Andre. That's perfect. You know what? I like that idea. You won me over.
All right, so...
And then Big Show retires finally.
And then Scott Hall shows up and asks Big Show, is Andre really your dad?
Yeah.
Chico?
Is Andre really your dad? No, remember, there was that line, then there was Harlem Heat. I think they're a couple of country bumpkins from Houston. And then another one that popped me is when they had the Nitro in the Astrodome and in the Houston Astrodome. Remember that was the Nitro where Sable was there? Do you remember that whole thing? How Sable was in the front row?
I do remember that.
Yeah, Sable had just left WWE like a month earlier, and she's in the front row, and then freaking Tony Schiavone's like, "Who is that?" Wait, freaking dweeb. But anyways, no. And then on that, I think it was on that show, there was a sign in the audience that said, "Welcome home, Harlem Heat." Harlem Heat. Welcome home, Harlem Heat.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
All right, so we got one more show left to go, which will be our preview to WrestleMania. I'm very excited to be out. I will be out in New Orleans for a couple days, though I'm not staying for the show. You're going to be out there for the show. I'm excited for you. I hope it's a great one. And yeah,
I'm excited for the food, bro. I'm excited for the food.
We'll hype it up. I know you don't want to stray outside of your hotel. You got work to do and stuff. But
no, I don't have any work to do.
Let's try and figure out if you're going to be in early enough, and we can get a Fight Game Blog little in-person reunion.
I'm gonna be there. I think I'm landing at like noon. I think.
When?
I think Saturday morning.
Gosh, I'm already gonna.
Because you're leaving Saturday morning. Why the fuck would you go to freaking nice see the Big Show, bro?
Because we gotta get back for UFC.
Who cares? Who could possibly care? Well, who's headlining? Is it Cormier?
It's the schedule, man. It's Tony Ferguson and Khabib. It's the schedule. I'm going by the schedule.
You should just stay and then catch a flight a couple days later.
It would be nice, but it'll also be hell.
And this Mania
weekend.
Could be a good show.
I'm excited for it. But I'm also excited to watch it with my friends. That's another thing. But yeah, so next week we'll do the big preview, and then we are off and running. To the main show, and yeah, it'll be a fun time for everyone involved.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do wish you would have gone to Mania though.
I don't know.
I wish
I have a problem sitting through those 7-hour shows though.
That I agree. No, I can't even disagree with you on that. And I do wish though that Dave. I know Dave always says like he'd rather watch it at home, which I feel that way about football games. Like I want to see football games at home more than seeing them, at live. But with Mania, I just think, and plus they treat them pretty good. Because if I remember correctly, at 31 they gave him like a nice press box. So it's just, I don't know. If I was a member of the press, I'd go to every Mania in the press box and get those free hot dogs or whatever they give you there.
But you can't even really interview talent. What are you there for?
See the show. I would be happy just seeing the show, honestly. I know it sounds markish, but I mean, look, I've been in one of those luxury boxes, and they give you some nachos and unlimited food, and I'll take it, bro. Free food and like a long night of wrestling with those big comfortable chairs. That's the life right there, bro. That is the life. Real talk. I did it once and I loved it.
All right, man. Well, you are making the argument for press box watching, though I think people in the press box are a little further away than you think they are.
No, I know they are, but I don't care. I'm getting nachos, so it's like whatever, bro. Yeah, I loved it. I did it once and I loved it. So,
all right. So for Big D and nachos,
right?
I'm Double G. We will see you when we see you next week. We'll talk WrestleMania. We'll preview WrestleMania. Let's hope
Taker actually shows up, please.
He's got to show up.
I don't want just the gongs. I want him to actually show up. I want to see what he looks like. And they might not do it. They might hide it until the show.
Maybe. I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not.
But we will see you when we see you. Peace out.